Hi, my name is Andrew Bettis. I'm a coffee specialist with Rancilio. This video will cover first startup procedures for the Rancilio Specialty RS1, which is this espresso machine. So at this point, we have completed the install checklist for the machine. The machine is plumbed in, we have a proper drain, and the machine is connected to power. And so the first thing that we'll do is power on the machine. All right, so the power button is here on the left-hand side of the machine. Go ahead and power that on. You'll see a couple dots in the left-hand corner of the machine showing you the software is booting up. And the first selection that you'll be given is your language. So go ahead and select your language. Select your date format. Then select your time format. Then you select your units format. You can select bars of pressure or PSI, or Celsius or Fahrenheit for temperature. And then next selection is your boiler temp for the coffee boiler. So each group head has its own micro boiler. You can adjust this later on too, so if you just want to hit next. The next selection is for boiler temperature, so bars of pressure for your boiler. Eco mode will fill the boiler up to 2/3 full, so you'll have more pressure with less power, but then you'll exhaust that pressure quicker. Now we'll talk a little bit about the proportional valves that are on this machine. So the RS1 doesn't have traditional steam valves. We have proportional valves on each side. That means it's controlled through the software of the machine. So you can select two different power settings for each side. And I've got setting 1 and 2 here for the left side, and then the same thing for the right side. And we'll get more into that later on. So for now, you can just go ahead and hit next, and then we can select those later. Cleaning, you can choose whether or not to block the cleaning. If you want a reminder every day that won't let you use the machine until it's been cleaned, you can select that. Right now I have it set to off. Power reduction runs the machine at 2/3 power, so that's a little bit different than the eco mode. So select power reduction if you want to run a lower power. Now I'm going to start the group boiler flush. So it's going to run water for about a minute, and it's going to bleed out any air that's in the boiler. So just go ahead and press start. And then we'll pick up whenever the boilers have been filled. So as your machine is heating, you'll notice this rotating graphic here. That's just letting you know the machine is getting up to temperature. So right now, the graphic has just changed to the Rancilio RR. That lets you know that the machine is up to temperature. You'll also notice your hot water buttons have have lit up. You'll see that once you're up to your set pressure and your group heads are up to temperature. So now I'm going to show you what you'll be receiving in the accessories box. So you'll receive a box that looks like this. And I'm going to go through some of these accessories here. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory. So you'll have your portafilters here, and then you'll have your spouts as well. So you can attach those to the portafilters. You'll be receiving a Rancilio Specialty Tamper. You have your bar towels, blind baskets, shot glass here, group brush. These guys are really helpful. This is essentially a basket remover. These are super helpful when you need to remove the basket. So it's a nice little tool to use. If you're using spouted portafilters, you can just clip it underneath the basket, easily remove it. Don't have to break a fingernail doing that. Lastly, you'll be getting this nice little tasting cup. It focuses the aromatics of the espresso towards the top of the glass there, so it kind of intensifies the aroma of the espresso. So pull a shot in here, and then you can smell it as you're tasting it. And that's everything in the accessories box. Another new feature of the RS1 is the IMS shower screen here. So when you drop the shower screen, you'll notice that there's no jet breaker now. And this is just on the Rancilio Specialty RS1. You'll have the IMS shower screen, which comes stock, and then the dispersion block. So now I'm going to go over the steam power levels for the left and right side. You can adjust these at however you want, but anywhere between 0 and 100. 0 would just mean no steam pressure. We typically do about 60% for small drinks, and it essentially replicates like a restricted steam tip. And so it gives you adequate pressure for steaming for like a macchiato or cortado, yielding less steam pressure there. So for this 60% setting, if I go to activate it, it's going to be this setting 1. And setting 2 is 100%. So if I go 60, then 100. You can see the lower setting is for 100%. So typically, if I'm steaming for a small drink and then a large drink, I can go between those two steam settings there. And that allows you to be pretty variable with the machine. Each side has individual presets, so you essentially have 4 presets overall. So now that we've set our steam power levels, I'm going to go ahead and set our temperature for group heads. So each group head is independent, and you can set each one at whichever temperature profile you choose. Just make sure that you use the volumetric buttons when you're using the temperature profiling technology, or else the group will not profile. You'll just receive you'll just be brewing on a flat temperature. And if you want to learn more about temperature profiling and learning how to use the self-learning mode, dialing in the impulses for the group, and dialing in coffees using the technology, go ahead and look at our second video that we have about the barista basics of the machine. For now, I'm going to show the basic overview of what each group records. So each group records the last 30 extractions. You can see how each group is doing. If you swipe to the left, you'll see your management tools. Here you can do things like save parameters to a USB or from a USB, copy them to the machine, or recipes like that. And here in a couple minutes, we'll look at the USB while we examine the drip tray. And the last menu item here is your technician tools. This is where you have your diagnostic tools for the machine. If you run into any issues, this is where you can test valves. You can test the solenoid valves, the heating elements, the lighting, the flow meters, and that sort of thing. You can also go back and set up how you originally set up the machine during first startup and change some of those if you choose. Right now I have continuous delivery off and the flush on, so that means when I press the continuous flow button, it's just going to do a flush. But you can essentially let that brew as long as you want with the continuous delivery. And now we're going to look at the drip tray. So here, the drip tray is set at the middle setting. If you want the machine set up so that the drip tray is at its highest setting, right now it's a special order. We'll eventually have a part that allows you to make that adjustment. So right now, we're right in the middle. We can go lower with the drip tray, which means that our group heads can be higher off of the drip tray. And that will give you more clearance for to-go cups. So if you want to adjust the drip tray, it's pretty easy. You'll engage both of these levers on the left and right hand side of the machine. Pull the drip tray straight out. And then you're going to adjust this entire bracket right here. So you'll unscrew here, and as you can see, you can go up or down with the bracket. You'll also want to adjust the drain manifold right here. So there's screws here that you'll unscrew with a long Phillips head screwdriver. And then you can move this manifold up and down so that the entire drainage system can move up or down for the machine. Also here under the machine, you'll have your USB port. So you've got 2 USB ports. They also supply power, so if you want to power your scale or any other barista tools or a smartphone, you can do that here. And you also have a pump adjustment here under the leg of the machine. And so when you're adjusting your pump pressure, it's very easy to adjust that right here. All right, thanks for watching. This has been the RS1 Startup video. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and stay tuned for the Barista Basics video.